Our lead story tonight, West Bengal Chief Minister's Mamata Banerjee National Project 2024, now her aim, as she spoke today at the Trinamool, the annual Martyrs' Day speech. However, this time it was a speech with a difference. She said it's Khela Hobe or game on for 2024, urging the opposition to unite to oust the BJP. She also took on the Modi government directly over the allegations of Pegasus phone hacking, saying that she's actually bandaged her phone to prevent phone tapping. She also said Pegasus is dangerous and ferocious and asking why the government is spending money on this instead of people. Interestingly, her speech was also telecast in 6 states, and in Delhi, opposition MPs watched her speech, including Congress leaders.
देखो हम पूरा इसको प्लास्टर कर दिया.
The picture that spoke 1,000 words. Mamata Banerjee not mincing hers either.
Pegasus, dangerous, ferocious. देखो हम पूरा इसको प्लास्टर कर दिया. क्या करेगा? फोन लगा के क्या करेगा?
Taking on the BJP government on the biggest scandal in the country today, she said, Pegasus, and signalling her agenda in no uncertain terms, Delhi Chalo, Target 2024.
आज आप लोगों को कहना चाहिए, आज हम लोग को इकट्ठा होना चाहिए.
Not just the phone hack, but also COVID, fuel prices, farmers' protests, and her own victory over BJP in Bengal. For Mamata Banerjee, the time is ripe. So on Trinamool's Shaheed Divas, 21st July, the outreach to opposition parties to say, let's meet. She is in Delhi next week.
अगर ये टाइम में शरद जी आप है, आप उधर में चिदम्बरम जी सब वगैरह वगैरह सब है, आप लोग सोच लीजिए, अगर आप लोग एक मीटिंग बुला सकता है तो वी कैन अटेंड 26 हो, 27 हो, 27, 28, 29, ये 3 दिन में अगर आप एक मीटिंग कर सकता है तो हम लोग एटलीस्ट वी कैन सिट टुगेदर.
Over half a dozen opposition leaders attended the Trinamool event in Delhi. Heavyweights like Sharad Pawar and P. Chidambaram. They were present for a while.
आप ममता बनर्जी के समर्थन में आए हैं?
बिल्कुल,
जी
बिल्कुल.
क्या आपको लगता है कि राष्ट्रीय राजनीति में भी ममता बनर्जी को सक्रिय होना चाहिए?
क्यों नहीं? क्यों नहीं?
The BJP jeered, and to embarrass the Trinamool, hit back, citing the NHRC report and holding a Shaheed Divas of its own for victims of post-poll violence. Political sparring between the BJP and Trinamool will continue in Bengal. But Mamata Banerjee has just moved the goalposts. She has taken the battle to BJP's doorstep at the centre. The Bengal Assembly elections results proved Mamata Banerjee is no easy adversary. Remember Khela Hobe?
रोशनी चाँद से होता है, सितारों से नहीं. मोहब्बत काम से होता है मोदी जी, मन का बात कहने से नहीं.
With G.D. Shankar and Himanshu Shekhar, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
And let's move our focus to the big news, which is always, of course, the COVID data. Well, there's been a big jump in daily COVID deaths as Maharashtra revises its data. So Maharashtra, huge jump also with that backlog, and India now reporting over 42,000 cases in the last 24 hours. Deaths reported in the last 24 hours, as we can see, 3,998, which is up 968% again because that backlog of deaths. Recovery rate still high, and the daily positivity rate at 2.27%. But what's interesting to look at is that the big spurt in cases today fits a pattern that usually happens on a Wednesday, Thursday. But today is different. Here's why. It's the first time since the dreadful peak that Wednesday's numbers have pushed up the daily average cases. Today's rise, the second time in just 3 days that it's risen. So far, regardless of the 24 ups and downs, the average trend has been of a continuous decline, which has stopped happening. Another matter of concern is that the reproduction number has risen after several days to 0.96, which is an indicator of spread, which means infections are rising. The last time it was so high was in mid-February as the second wave was taking root. But remember, this is also because Kerala's cases are continuing to rise as they've ordered fresh restrictions today. Meanwhile, a new study has come out on what this group estimates as the real number of COVID deaths in India, co-authored by the government's former chief economic advisor, Arvind Subramaniam, among others. This estimates several millions have died. Now, that's way more than the official 4.14 lakh toll, which is the latest data today. This report has analyzed and reported 3 estimates, and if you see the last column, it shows that the total number of estimated deaths could be between 3.4 million to almost 5 million. That, of course, is their estimate. But interestingly, according to 2 estimates, the first wave seems to have been more lethal, possibly because it was long at 11 months. The authors write that while they provided 3 different estimates of such excess deaths based on 3 different data sources, they do not favor any one estimate because each has merits and shortcomings. They've also said that because of these numbers, the true deaths could make this India's worst tragedy since partition and independence. Well, today also there was anger by families of those who lost their loved ones during the second wave after the government's claim in Parliament that states and UTs had not reported any deaths because of oxygen shortage. Opposition leaders and state governments who are not with the BJP also hit out, saying that the centre was lying about the fact that there were no deaths because of lack of oxygen.
The centre's statement in Parliament that no deaths because of lack of oxygen have been specifically reported by states and UTs has angered the families of those who died last April in hospitals, at the gates of hospitals, even in vehicles and ambulances because of a shortage of oxygen supply.
मेरे फादर और मॉम तो डिस्चार्ज होने वाले थे, बस मैं उस दिन ही अगले दिन ही कॉल आता है कि ये बार हॉस्पिटल आ जाओ, डॉक्टर बात करना चाहते हैं। फर्स्ट मेरी मम्मी की डेथ हुई पहले, तो वहाँ पर था मैं, तो डॉक्टर कह रहे कि ऑक्सीजन की शॉर्टेज से डेथ हो गई।
23-year-old Gaurav and his sister Bharti lost their parents when the oxygen ran out at Delhi's Jaipur Golden Hospital. Over 20 people died on the 24th of April. 70-year-old Harbhajan Singh is still struggling to come to terms with the death of his wife Kawaljit. She was among the 12 who died in Delhi's Batra hospital on the 1st of May because of oxygen shortage. The family is shaken after the government's claims.
तो मुझे हैरानगी होती है, सरकार ये कैसे कह सकती है? अगर नहीं हुई है तो फिर उन्होंने क्या खुद ही अपने गले घोट कर मार दिया? वो बिल्कुल ठीक ठाक थी। फर्स्ट टाइम वो अपने मतलब हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट हुई हैं। 29 को वो एडमिट हुई हैं और फर्स्ट को उनका ऐसे ये सब हो गया।
Batra Hospital had also lost one of its own doctors, its gastroenterology head Dr. R.K. Himtani.
अपने आप में ग्लानि होती है कभी कभी देख करके कि हम कैसे प्रैक्टिशनर हैं कि हमारे सामने हमारा कलीग और बहुत सारे पेशेंट की डेथ हो जाती है और एक ऐसी वजह से जिस वजह को बड़े आराम से मैनेज किया जा सकता है। राजनीतिकरण ऑक्सीजन पे, मरीजों की कॉस्ट पे, उनकी जिंदगी पे नहीं होना चाहिए।
But it was not just people dying in hospitals. In Lucknow, 61-year-old Shankar Dayal died gasping for oxygen at his home. His sons unable to get a hospital bed for him or to arrange adequate oxygen, despite spending hours at oxygen plants, even begging and pleading.
21 या 22 को हमको लोग पता चला कि ऑक्सीजन लेवल ज़्यादा डाउन है, 40-60 इसी तरह पहुँच गया। 40-60 था, ठीक है। फिर उसके बाद हम लोग काफ़ी हॉस्पिटलों में दौड़े हैं, कहीं कोई बेड नहीं खाली था, ना कहीं ऑक्सीजन भी अवेलेबल नहीं हो पा रही थी।
States today lashed out at the centre's accusation that it was their fault in not sending any data on deaths because of oxygen shortage.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने कहा कि हम एक कमेटी बना रहे हैं जो एक एक मौत की जांच करेगी। उन्होंने एलजी से उसको रुकवा दिया।
क्या मेरी तो बोलती बंद हो गई। जिसके परिवार के लोग ऑक्सीजन के अभाव से उनकी मृत्यु हो गई, उनके ऊपर क्या बीती हुई ये बात सुनकर।
भारतीय जनता पार्टी का सबसे बड़ा झूठ है। जिस समय लोग ऑक्सीजन के लिए तड़प रहे थे, उस समय भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार होते हुए भी अस्पतालों में ऑक्सीजन नहीं उपलब्ध करा पाई।
Union Minister and Delhi MP Meenakshi Lekhi countered this, demanding the Maharashtra and Delhi governments declare the number of deaths because of oxygen shortage. While the centre has put the onus upon the states, it has failed to explain the hue and cry across the country that led to India receiving such heavy foreign aid for oxygen.
The government may continue with the blame game, but for families who lost their loved ones, these wounds will remain forever, and the oxygen crisis will always be a fact that can never be denied. Bureau Report for NDTV.
Well, a tragic story there. States and centres couldn't see the reality of what happened in those horrible months just a few months ago. Let's just look at global numbers. The United Kingdom will now topping global numbers as the Delta variant is rampant there at over 46,643 cases, 96 deaths. India follows at over 42,000 cases, but remember that's a backlog there. And also comparing India to the UK's population, you can see how much COVID is spreading in the UK. The US now number 3. So cases going up there again because the Delta variant, and mainly amongst unvaccinated people. So their cases there at nearly 37,000, followed by Brazil and France. Meanwhile, moving back to Indian politics, which is always fascinating. And now you've got Sidhu's 60 or 62 versus Captain's 15. New Punjab Congress chief Navjot Singh Sidhu was at the Golden Temple today to pay his respects, but he made sure it was a show of strength, also bussing in an estimated 60 MLAs. That's a majority of the current 80 Congress MLAs. Many of them included former captain supporters. The big flashpoint, however, will now be Friday when Sidhu's official takeover ceremony as chief is scheduled. Will the chief minister attend?
Crisscrossing the state for the last 2 days to garner support, the newly appointed Punjab Congress chief Navjot Singh Sidhu, who will be formally assuming office on Friday in Chandigarh, reached the Golden Temple to pay respect at the holy shrine for Sikhs. The Sidhu camp claimed that 60 out of 77 Congress MLAs in Punjab who were invited attended this show of strength. This despite CM's no apology, no talks call. The tweet by CM's media advisor read, "Reports of Sherry on top seeking time to meet Captain Amrinder are completely false. No time has been sought whatsoever. No change in stance. Captain Amrinder won't meet Navjot Singh Sidhu till latter publicly apologizes for his personally derogatory social media attacks against him." Among 60 MLAs who welcomed Sidhu were several leaders once considered close to Punjab Chief Minister, including Sunil Jakhar, former Punjab Pradesh Congress Committee President, Amrinder Singh Raja Waring, political advisor to CM, cabinet ministers including Tript Rajendra Bajwa, Sukhjinder Singh Randhawa, Charanjit Channi.
How many MLAs do you have here?
While Sidhu and Captain Amrinder Singh have both hit silent mode, other leaders are speaking on their behalf. MLA Pargat Singh, a long-time supporter of Sidhu, in turn asked for an apology from the Chief Minister.
माफी किस काम दी? माफी मेरे कहने ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ। ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਕੈਪਟਨ ਅਮਰਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਲਵ ਕੀਤੇ ਤੇ ਕੈਪਟਨ ਅਮਰਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਮਾਫੀ ਮੰਗਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ।
Many senior leaders dismissed any possibility of Sidhu apologizing to the Chief Minister.
वो सरकारी व्यक्ति है, वो पार्टी का कोई ऑफिस बीरर नहीं। ऑल इज वेल इन कांग्रेस।
तो आगे आने वाले दिनों में
डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन होना कोई बुरी बात नहीं है। ये डेमोक्रेटिक सेटअप है, डेमोक्रेसी में डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन रहता है।
CM's own political advisor who attended Sidhu said time will heal all the wounds.
मैं समझता हूँ कि ये न केवल कांग्रेस पार्टी में हर जगह इतना थोड़ा थोड़ा चलता है, पार्टियों में ऐसी बात चलती है, लेकिन ऐसी कोई चीज नहीं है जो ठीक नहीं हो सकती। और आने वाले दिनों में आप देखेंगे कि तमाम लोग एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म पर आकर पंजाब के लोगों की लड़ाई लड़ेंगे।
The BJP meanwhile took a swipe at Sidhu and Captain. Leader RP Singh tweeted and said, "Sidhu 62 versus Captain 15," a reference to a letter by 10 Congress MLAs urging the party high command to not let the captain down. The letter was written on 18th of this month.
In the past 72 hours, neither Congress Party High Command nor Punjab Chief Minister or the Punjab State President has made any outreach effort to resolve the impending political crisis. And if the situation remains the same, then the entire purpose behind the restructuring of the state unit in Punjab stands defeated. With camera person Ashwini Mehra, I'm Akshay Dongri for NDTV.
But moving from the Congress problems with chief ministers, the BJP facing problems of its own with Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa. Will he resign or won't he? Well, his loyalists say that he's not going anywhere and he's arranging his own show of strength as well, including with religious seers.
Support is loud and clear from these religious leaders for the continuation of B.S. Yediyurappa as Karnataka Chief Minister. They have come personally to meet him and have also given statements essentially asking the central leadership to back off from the veteran politician who belongs to the dominant Lingayat community.
ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಅವರ ಆಡಳಿತದಲ್ಲಿ ದೋಷಗಳು ಕಂಡ್ರೆ ಆಗ ಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಬೇಕೆ ಹೊರತಾಗಿ 1 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ 2 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ 3 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳನ್ನು ಬದಲಾಯಿಸುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗದಂತ ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ದ CM, please don't give resignation. You are purely 2 years complete after the you can leadership change. But present Yediyurappa is continued CM. Philosophers are ruled by government. Yediyurappa is a good philosopher and good administrator.
Home Minister Basavaraj Bommai also says the Chief Minister is here to stay.
CM is going to continue. He himself has said it, and our in charge Arun Singh has also said it in previously. Ultimately, CM is very strong.
And even a Congress leader, former Home Minister M.B. Patil, has tweeted that the BJP could face Lingayat anger if the party ill-treats Yediyurappa. The 78-year-old Chief Minister completes 2 years in office in this current term on July the 27th. With Kumaran Govind, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
Interesting mix of religion and politics there. But moving on, the other big headline is that farmers will begin their protests during the current parliament session at Delhi's Jantar Mantar today. The Delhi government has given them permission. However, only 200 farmers can protest at a time and they have to leave by 5 o'clock. So different buses will be coming in to Delhi from tomorrow with a maximum of 200 farmers. So you should watch out if your traffic routes are in the same route from where the farmers will be coming, though there will be a maximum of 200 according to the Delhi government, and there will be heavy police security.
200 farmers are expected to leave from their de facto protest headquarters at Delhi's northern border to Jantar Mantar, a designated protest site near Parliament and next to a major police station.
200 farmers यहाँ से हमारे ऑफिस से बसेज में जाएंगे, रोज जाएंगे, कल से जाएंगे, 13 अगस्त तक जाएंगे.
With the 26th of January violence still fresh, the police, government and farmers have agreed on how to proceed peacefully this time. Identification cards every day to the 200 farmers who will bus it to Parliament daily. The buses will be escorted by police. They will arrive at 10:30 a.m. daily and leave at 5 p.m. 5 companies each of Delhi police and paramilitary forces will be present at the Jantar Mantar for security. Farmers who are protesting 3 controversial farm laws pushed through by the government last year are saying that they will court arrest without any protest if the Delhi police try to stop them. The makeshift barriers remain in place. So far, there is no plan to disrupt traffic.
There are 2 challenges in front of Delhi police. First challenge is how to keep control of this whole Parliament farmers march, because last time on 26 January they had given permission to farmers to march in Delhi, but situation got out of their hands. And the second challenge is that in Jantar Mantar, which is very close to Parliament, how to control these farmers, because last time also few fringe element deviated the whole protest. In Singhu border, Mr. Shikant Jha, Saurabh Shukla for NDTV.
So be careful of that tomorrow. And meanwhile, more voices now emerging against producer Raj Kundra, husband of actress Shilpa Shetty, with one young actress claiming that she was asked for a nude audition by him and others.
Businessman Raj Kundra's arrest was the culmination of an investigation that started after a raid during an alleged porn shoot inside a bungalow in Mar Island, near Mumbai in February this year. Raj Kundra's name had emerged in the probe after the arrest of actor Gehna Vashisht soon after the raid, but the police say they did not find enough evidence then to proceed against Raj Kundra. Vashisht had denied that porn films were being shot at the premises and instead described it as erotica, which is not illegal.
बोल्ड फिल्मों को, एरोटिक फिल्मों को पोर्नोग्राफिक के साथ मिक्स किया जा रहा है. कोई भी फिल्म पोर्नोग्राफी के सेक्शन में नहीं आती.
As the police continue to interrogate Raj Kundra, others from the industry are claiming they were conned by him too.
जिस तरह से उमेश कामत ने या राज कुंद्रा ने जिस तरह से मुझसे डिमांड किया था वीडियो कॉल पे न्यूड ऑडिशन का, तो मैं भी डिमांड करना चाहती हूँ कि उनकी जांच हो।
YouTuber Puneet Kaur also took to her Instagram account to share details about an offer from Raj Kundra to work on a film for the Hotshot app. The police say they are verifying the evidence found during searches at Raj Kundra's office and if required, will record statements of those making allegations against Kundra. In Mumbai with Prashant Shishodia, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
But as we end this bulletin, let me wish all our viewers a very happy Eid. Eid Mubarak to all those celebrating.
Walhamdulillahi kathira Fasubhanallahi wa bihamdihi bukratan wa asila La